You close your eyes. The room is quiet. The blankets are warm. Someone you trust is sleeping just a few inches away. It feels ordinary. Most nights, you probably never stop to wonder why humans sleep together at all. But for almost all of human history, sleeping alone was one of the most dangerous things you could do. 20,000 years ago, there were no locked doors, no heated bedrooms, no police, no electric lights keeping predators away, only darkness, cold, and the sounds of animals moving just beyond the reach of the fire. Today, many people choose to sleep alone because it offers comfort and privacy. For prehistoric humans, sleeping alone often meant something entirely different. It could mean you would never wake up. The question isn't why ancient humans shared a sleeping space. The real question is why any human would ever choose not to. Once you understand how our ancestors survived the night, you begin to see that one of the most ordinary parts of modern life is actually a survival strategy millions of years in the making. Around 23,000 years ago, on the shores of what is now the Sea of Galilee in Israel, a small community of hunter-gatherers built a camp that would remain hidden beneath layers of sediment for thousands of years. Today, archaeologists know this place as Ohalo II. Discovered after the water level of the Sea of Galilee dropped dramatically in 1989. Ohalo II is one of the best preserved prehistoric campsites ever found. Led by Israeli archaeologist Ehud Weiss and later studied extensively by Dani Nadel and other researchers, the site revealed something extraordinary. 6 brush huts, stone tools, fishing equipment, plant remains, thousands of animal bones, and, perhaps most importantly, carefully prepared sleeping areas. Inside several huts, researchers found layers of grasses deliberately arranged on the ground. Microscopic analysis showed these grasses were selected rather than randomly collected. Some even contained plants believed to repel insects. This wasn't simply somewhere people collapsed after a long day. It was a place designed for sleep. That discovery changed how archaeologists viewed prehistoric life. Sleep was not an afterthought. It was something worth planning. But here's where it gets stranger. The sleeping spaces inside these huts were surprisingly small. Much smaller than most modern bedrooms, they appear to have been designed for multiple people resting close together. At first glance, that seems uncomfortable. Today, we associate personal space with better sleep. In prehistoric environments, personal space could become a liability. Every person produces body heat. An average adult generates around 100 watts of heat while resting. One sleeping person loses that warmth quickly into cold air. Several people sleeping together create a shared pocket of warmth. Modern thermal studies show that closely grouped sleepers lose significantly less heat than individuals sleeping alone. For Ice Age hunter-gatherers facing nighttime temperatures near freezing, that difference could determine whether everyone survived until sunrise. But warmth was only one reason. Darkness itself was another enemy. Humans are naturally poor night animals. Compared with many predators, your night vision is remarkably weak. Lions can see roughly 6 times better than humans in low light. Wolves detect movement long before you can. Even today, your hearing becomes more sensitive at night because your brain compensates for limited vision. Imagine living without flashlights, without windows, without walls strong enough to stop a hungry predator. Every strange sound outside your shelter demanded attention. A single person could not stay alert all night. A group could. Some people slept. Others remained lightly awake. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer societies have observed that nighttime sleep is often staggered rather than perfectly synchronized. In 2017, evolutionary anthropologist David Sampson and colleagues studied the Hadza people of Tanzania. They found that throughout the night, someone in the group was almost always awake or only lightly asleep. Researchers called this the Sentinel Hypothesis. Without assigning guards or creating shift, the natural differences in age and sleep patterns meant someone was nearly always aware of the environment. Older adults tended to wake earlier. Younger adults stayed awake later. Children woke unpredictably. Together, they created a form of nighttime protection without anyone planning it. But this raises another question. If humans were already protected by fire, why did they still need to sleep so closely together? The answer lies in what fire could and couldn't do. Fire changed human history. It provided warmth. It extended the day. It scared away many predators. But it never made humans completely safe. A campfire has limits. Its light fades after only a few meters. Its heat drops quickly with distance, and if no one feeds it, it dies. For prehistoric hunter-gatherers, keeping a fire alive through the night was a constant responsibility. Evidence from sites such as Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa, where controlled fire dates back nearly 1 million years, shows that humans had mastered fire long before the last ice age. But mastering fire did not mean controlling nature. Strong winds could extinguish a flame, heavy rain could soak fuel, snow could make collecting dry wood nearly impossible. If the fire went out during the coldest part of the night, the group still had one reliable source of warmth: each other. Sleeping close together created a backup system. Even when the flames weakened, shared body heat remained. This wasn't just about comfort, it was about conserving energy. Every calorie mattered. A prehistoric adult might burn 3,000 to 5,000 calories a day while hunting, gathering, carrying supplies, and surviving freezing temperatures. Producing body heat required even more energy. The more warmth a group could conserve overnight, the fewer calories they needed to replace the next day. In other words, sleeping together helped save food. But heat wasn't the only thing people shared after sunset. They also shared information. When the sun disappeared, work slowed. Hunting became dangerous. Travel became difficult. The fire became the center of the camp. Anthropologists believe these evening hours played a major role in human evolution. British anthropologist Robin Dunbar has argued that language and storytelling became increasingly important as humans spent more time gathered around fire after dark. Stories were not simply entertainment, they carried survival knowledge. Which berries made people sick, where dangerous animals had been seen, when rivers flooded, how to recognize changing seasons. A child listening beside the fire could learn lessons that might one day save their life. The sleeping area naturally formed around that same fire. Knowledge, warmth, and protection all occupied the same space. And over thousands of generations, sleeping together became deeply connected to human social life. But here's where it gets even stranger. The people you slept beside affected something far more important than your safety. They affected your brain. Modern neuroscience has shown that humans are intensely social sleepers. In sleep laboratories, researchers have found that people sleeping near trusted partners often experience lower nighttime stress responses than those sleeping alone. Studies measuring the hormone cortisol, often called the body's primary stress hormone, have found that feelings of safety can reduce overnight stress levels. Your brain constantly evaluates whether your environment is secure. If it detects danger, even subconsciously, your sleep becomes lighter. You wake more often. Your heart rate remains elevated. Your body stays prepared for action. This survival mechanism helped ancient humans. Deep sleep is restorative, but deep sleep also makes you vulnerable. Your brain evolved to balance recovery with survival. Being surrounded by trusted members of your group allowed your nervous system to relax just enough to gain the benefits of sleep, while still remaining prepared for danger. This may explain why complete silence sometimes feels unsettling. Many people sleep better with the faint sound of another person's breathing, movement, or even quiet conversation in another room. Your brain interprets those sounds as evidence that your social group is still nearby. That instinct may reach back tens of thousands of years. But sleeping together also created a serious problem. The closer humans lived together at night, the easier it became for something else to spread through the group. Not wolves, not bears, something much smaller, something that has been sleeping beside humans for thousands of years. The greatest danger inside a prehistoric shelter wasn't always waiting outside. Sometimes it was already inside. When people began sleeping close together night after night, they created the perfect environment for tiny organisms to survive alongside them. Parasites, fleas, lice, and eventually bedbugs. Evidence from genetics suggests that human body lice diverged from head lice around 170,000 years ago, according to research led by Mark Stoneking and colleagues. That split likely happened after humans began wearing clothing regularly. Once clothing became common, parasites evolved to exploit an entirely new habitat: your clothes, your bedding, and your sleeping places. Bedbugs have an even older history. Genetic studies indicate they existed long before humans appeared, but when prehistoric people began occupying caves and shelters repeatedly, some populations adapted to living alongside them instead of feeding primarily on bats. Every night, as families gathered close together, parasites found an easier way to spread. Sleeping together carried a biological cost, yet humans continued doing it because the benefits outweighed the risks. Warmth was more valuable than avoiding a few bites. Protection was more important than perfect hygiene. And survival always came first. But the night shaped humans in another way that is harder to see. It shaped childhood. Human babies are among the most helpless mammals on Earth. A newborn deer can stand within hours. A newborn human may need years before becoming independent. Anthropologist Sarah Blaffer-Hrdy has argued that human survival depended on cooperative breeding, a system in which mothers, fathers, grandparents, siblings, and other group members all helped raise children. That cooperation did not end when the sun went down. Infants needed warmth throughout the night. They needed feeding. They needed protection. Sleeping close together allowed multiple adults to respond quickly. The sleeping group became an extension of the family itself. In many traditional hunter-gatherer societies studied during the 20th century, infants rarely slept far from caregivers. This reduced exposure to cold, it shortened feeding times, and it increased the chances that a child would survive the most vulnerable years of life. Those nighttime habits left a mark on the human brain. Even today, complete isolation during sleep feels unnatural to many people. Some prefer the sound of rain. Others leave a fan running. Many fall asleep more easily knowing another person is nearby. These preferences may seem modern, but they could be echoes of instincts formed over thousands of generations. Instincts created when darkness meant uncertainty, when silence could signal danger, and when another heartbeat nearby meant one more chance to see the morning. Today, your bedroom is probably one of the safest places you will ever enter. Solid walls protect you from weather. Locked doors separate you from predators. Heating keeps the cold outside. Electric lights erase the darkness with the flip of a switch. The dangers that shaped human sleep have almost disappeared, but your brain hasn't forgotten them. It still searches for safety before allowing you to fully rest. It still responds to familiar voices, to trusted faces, to the quiet presence of other people. For nearly all of human history, sleep was never a solitary act. It was a shared survival strategy, a circle of warmth in a world of darkness. And every night you close your eyes beside someone you trust, your brain may be following a pattern first written beside ancient campfires more than 20,000 years ago.